Alright, we're going to go over the quiz since it was a take-home quiz and we didn't go over it in class. So here are the answers. Stop it. Alright, for number 1, I want to know, identify each transformation in the picture. The words in the bake may be used once, more than once, or not at all. So this one right here, a lot of people think it's dilation because this is getting bigger, but in fact it is a reflection because the top is exactly like the bottom. The arrows make it not the dilation because they're not the same. For here, this is going down and to the right, so it is a translation. And then this one's going around, and anytime we do that, it's rotation. Number 4, it says, part 2, for the following questions, use the figure at the right. I didn't require you to graph them all because it was just so much, but use the graph as you need. So it says, reflect ABC across the y-axis. And what are the coordinates for A double prime? So if I'm reflecting across the y-axis, that is negative x comma y. Well, my point A is at negative 1, 5. So if I'm going to apply that rule, it's going to become 1, 5. You just change x. So that would be A. Number 5, dilate ABC about the origin, so it's just a regular dilation, so I need to multiply by the scale factor of 3. What are the coordinates for C double or triple prime? So C is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. So if I multiply that by the scale factor, I end up at 18, 6, which is C. Number 6, using 4, 2 as the center of rotation. So this gets a little bit more complicated. I'm going to blow this up right here. If I use 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and it says rotate 90. Well, 90 degrees rotation is negative yx. So if I'm rotating 90 degrees, I want to know what are the coordinates for B. Well, B is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. So I am going to go, and it's going to become negative 4, 5. So I'm going to use my new origin and go negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where do I end up at for B prime? Well, where do I actually end up on the graph would be 0, 7. So my answer is A. Alright, for this next section. So it's doing the same thing, you're just doing 3 more rules. So right here, I want to apply the rule x plus 1, y minus 7. What are the coordinates for C? Well, C is at, again, 6, 2. And so if I add 1 to x, like it says right there, I end up at 7. If I subtract 7, I end up at negative 5, which gives me C. Reflect ABC across the line y equals x. So that rule is going to be y comma x. You just switch them. What's the coordinates for B? So B is at 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if B is at 9, 6, it's going to become 6, 9, which is D. Using the origin as the center of rotation, rotate 180. Well, because origin is my center, it's just going to be the regular rules. And I want to know what are the coordinates for C. So again, C is at 6, 2. So it's going to become negative 6, negative 2, which is B. You have to memorize these rules for the test tomorrow. If you don't know the rules, you won't pass the test. A little trick right here too. If you're asking for C, Remember, if you rotate 180, you can physically take your paper. That's 90. That's 180. Where does C end up at? It ends up at -6, -2. So you can also, for the rotations, if you don't know the rules, you can physically rotate your paper, but you have to understand how that works. In the graph shown, A, B, and C is a dilation of A prime, B prime, C prime is a dilation of A, B, C. Which ordered pair best represents the coordinates for the center? So for the center, you're supposed to connect your vertices. Tomorrow, if you need one, you could get a ruler, or you can just use slopes. Where is that center? Is it at 0, 0? No, they both don't cross. Is it at 2, 1? No. 1, 2 is pretty close. -1, 2 is nowhere near them. So it's C. I suggest you use a ruler. I'm just being lazy. Or your ID. You can get your ID and use that. That's a straight edge. What is my scale factor to dilate ABC to A prime, B prime, C prime? Well, ABC, I see a vertical line, so that's what I'm going to use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It goes from 9 for ABC, or AC is 9. And then A prime, C prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 is A prime, C prime. So if it goes from 9 to 18, it's getting bigger, so it's not going to be the decimals, and it'll be 2. Alright, for the back, here's where a lot of people got things wrong. I want to know the lines of symmetry. So if I go right here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 lines of symmetry here. And if there are 5 lines of symmetry, I'm going to do 360 divided by 5. That gives me 72. So I want to know the angles of rotation. So if I rotate it 72 degrees, I get the exact same image. But then I can also do it again. That's the exact same image, but I can do it again, 72 more degrees. So at 144, it's also the same image. And then if I keep going, 216 and 288. Now you end up at 360. You don't need to write 360 because that's your original one, but if you do, I wouldn't count off. For this one, I have one line of symmetry that's vertical. Well, 360 divided by 1 is just 360. So this has no angles of rotation because no matter how I turn this, it's never going to be the exact same image. That's a different image unless I end up back at 360. So. Alright, over here, your rules. So if I'm looking from here to here, I notice my x and y, the numbers are opposite. So this is going to go y and x switch. And also, the -5 is still -5, but my -3 turned positive. My y turned changed sign. So it's -yx, which is g. And -yx is rotating 90, so that's n. Right here, if I'm looking, x and y stay in the same spot, but my x becomes negative, or it changes signs. My y still stays the same. So if I have -xy, that is A, and -xy is reflecting across the y-axis, which is R. Alright, for this one, oh, these are like nowhere near anywhere what they were. Like I can't switch them around. So I'm probably adding. So how do you get from 6 to -3? -9. And just double check it works with the second one. Is -2 minus 9 -11? Yeah. And for y, how do you get from -4 to -1? plus 3, make sure that works, is negative 2 plus 3, 1. Third choice. So that would be C, and that's the only one that's a translation. And then over here, if I look, my x's and y's switched, and it's the same sign, so that would just be E, which is reflecting across. Make sure you don't go too fast and you miss out the negative. This is just reflecting across y equals x. All right, last one. This is probably the most difficult one for a lot of you. My suggestion when you get to these is to write out your points. A is at negative 9, 2. B is at 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4, 4. And C is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 6. And then it's going to go to A prime ends up at being 0, negative 3. B prime is at 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, negative 5. And C prime is at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If you're looking at these, the first thing as I'm looking that I notice is 2, negative 3, 4, negative 5, negative 6, 5. If I go from 2 to 3, that's minus 5, but 4 isn't minus 5. I think I can just switch these signs right here. If I make it a negative y, that becomes negative 2. How do I get to negative 3? Minus 1. If I make this a negative 4, I'm minus 1 to get to negative 5. And I make this a positive 6, I'm minus 1. So I'm pretty sure my y was, you just change it and go negative. My x's, though, I think I counted one wrong. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right. Because this just changes from positive to negative. Oh, I think A is 8. That's why. Okay, that fixes it. Because those just change signs, but here, if I'm noticing, these don't just change signs. So how do you go from negative 4 to 4? Add 8. How do you go from negative 6 to 2? Add 8. And negative 8 to 0? That one's going to be plus 8. So if I'm adding 8 to x, I'm going to go right 8. I am subtracting 1, so I'm going to go down 1. And this negative y means I'm reflecting over the x-axis. And that's your answer. Alright guys, good luck. Study for your test tomorrow. Make sure you look over all the notes that we've given since we didn't take a lot in our notebook.